This episode of Badass Agents Podcast is brought to you by Jason Smith team at Nova Home Loans. Jason, a Navy veteran, has been recognized as one of the top 100 loan originators in the country. There is no task too big or too small for the Jason Smith team. Every client counts. For the best rates and great service, contact Jason at 480-227-6231 or visit novahomeloans.com. I personally stand by his service, and so do thousands of satisfied clients. That's Jason Smith at Nova Home Loans, NMLS number 210839. I would look at my arm and I would look at it, disappointment. It's mangled. Look at the scars. People are staring at it. I was upset. I was angry. Episode of Mindset Mastery. I'm your host, AZ Araujo, and I want to thank you for joining me on this glorious Monday. It's a glorious day, a beautiful day, and I'm feeling pumped up. I'm feeling rejuvenated, alive. You know, how good does that feel, right? It feels so good to feel so good. And this is a phrase we often use because, hey, listen, it's like it takes a lot of hard work. So when you feel good, have that self-appreciation. You worked your ass off for that. You've made the necessary deposits. You've made the necessary sacrifices to feel this good. And I got to tell you, like, my shirt's feeling really good right now. I'm not sucking my tummy in. I'm feeling good and in my power because of the hard work I've put over the last 29 days. We are on day 29 of the 30-day challenge. And listen, it's just getting easier. It's part of who I am today, right? I love to feel this good, this energetic. I can remember the days just months before where I was starting to feel a little lethargic, like going through the motions. I didn't realize how much the food that I was consuming was affecting my psyche. It was affecting my health. It was affecting my energy. And today I'm just feeling like I'm in my element. And I'm excited. I'm excited about life. I'm excited about the opportunities. I'm excited of what I'm able to accomplish. Like, I'm a beast. And some of you may be feeling this way too. Like, excited. And last week I couldn't pinpoint it. I was like, I just feel so good. I don't know about what. You know, like when you're anticipating something, maybe a new car, you're about to close on your house or something grand, right? That's how I was feeling yesterday, but I didn't know what it was. And there was nothing specific. It was just my body and my life telling me, hey, you're on the right path. You're on this path of prosperity. And I've been on this path for a very long time, but now it seems like it's more dialed in. And it's amazing how good life gets. It's amazing what you can accomplish if you just continue to do the right things and invest in yourself, invest in your family, invest in your business. You get the sensation within, an excitement, not the anxiety, but the excitement that something bigger and better and grander is coming your way. And that's just the way I was feeling because it was on the back of the hard work. So hell yeah, I feel good. It feels so damn good. It feels so good. So when you're feeling this way, you got to appreciate yourself. You're doing the right things. Now your responsibility, here's your responsibility, is to be there on a more consistent basis. Do not rest on your laurels. Do not make it an option. If you commit to something, do it. And I think this is on the back of it because, again, I was having just so much appreciation about the path and the journey. Last week, we accomplished so much. We're here within the organization of AZ & Associates and with our Do the Work coaching and consulting firm. Like, it's amazing how things are blowing up and how much lives are being changed. And I think that's the foundation of it all. Realizing that lives are changing. Like, we're making a positive impact. I'm that pebble in the water that keeps rippling through and through. And that's causing more ripple effects. The domino, right? And I think that's the foundation of it all. Understanding that life can get better. Life can get good all the time. Not just sporadically. It doesn't have to be chaotic. It doesn't have to be full of turmoil. It could be a life on fire, and that's what I'm feeling right now, guys. And I got to tell you, I was feeling good before, but when you get dialed in, holy shit, it's a different game altogether. And I try to invite everyone within my realm, anyone who can hear me, that it's possible for you. Your vision might just be a little cloudy right now. And I explained last week about like that fat, right? The fat around my belly was the same fat I had around my business. It was still good. It was still functional. Shit, I could run a 70.3, no problem. But can I be better? Can you be better? I was cutting out the fat. That's what I started doing. And I realized, hey, I can do more for my business. my businesses. I could do more for the people around me. I could do more for myself, for my daughters, for my wife. And even though things were good, I am not complacent. And you know that by now. If you're in this environment, you're not going to be complacent. The only way you can grow complacent is to, separate yourself out. Is to operate alone at home. But if you're within, you're moving. Your life is getting better. You're progressing nicely. Because you understand that feeling good is on the back of the hard work, the sacrifices, the pain, the work, the investment. We all know that. And it was a very effective week for us, I got to tell you. I mean, the meetings we had last week, we had Mindset Mastery. We had a podcast. I had one of our agents here. It just fired me up. Sergio Argueta came in. If you haven't listened to that, go to Badass Agents podcast on your favorite podcast provider, and it'll fire you up. He is now a ripple in his own right. He is the pebble causing ripples. And that's a responsibility. That's a stewardship. We rise others up. We unveiled phase 2 of this challenge. Carla decided to move forward and take this group to a whole new different level. After 28 or 29 days when we were there, the results were amazing. And she knows she can take these individuals to another level, another standard, another life. We unveiled that. And then we unveiled another phase 1 to the general public. Now, it's one thing to announce things, but realize what goes behind that. Realize the manpower. Realize the type of energy and focus that need to be paid through every time we unveil something. It requires planning. It requires funnels. It requires copy. Where do you think this all comes from? It's not pulled from thin air. And it's going to take someone who's focused. It's going to require a leader to introduce that to your business. And that's what it requires from me. How can I do all these things and still remain in my power? Because I embrace the suck. I embrace the pain. Just like this 30-day challenge. I said, not only am I going to take this on, I'm going to stick to it to the T. 6 a.m. 29 days in a row. 6 a.m. Not, I don't feel like I want to get another hour of sleep. I'll wait till 7:30, 8 o'clock. No, I leave it as no option. Because when shit needs to get done, I can prove it to myself and I trust myself to be able to deliver on it. I give myself zero option. Because at the moment I do, I start giving my relationships an option. The things that I have to do for my business become an option. But if I embrace the suck of waking up every morning, Monday through Sunday, because I said it and I delivered upon it, I start to feel really good. And I know I didn't leave anything on the table. I embrace the short-term pain for long-term results. I prove it to myself. Bring it on. I'll accomplish it. Bring it on. I'll deliver. Not, well, if I feel like it. I'm kind of tired today. I need another hour. I only slept 4 hours. I said 6 o'clock, I'll be there. 6 o'clock. And that's just the way I approach life. I don't care who's coming in and who's not. Ironman training, same thing. As long as I'm there. And people can rely on me. People can trust me. My family can trust me. If I say something, I'm going to pull it off. Why? Because I've embraced the pains. The self-inflicted pains. So when somebody else or a situation tries to inflict pain on me, it's a walk through the park. I got this shit. The self-inflicted pains. Because when you embrace it, as opposed to wanting it to stop, wanting an additional 10 minutes, another 30 minutes. Life becomes easy. You become untouchable. Just like my tattoo last week. I got a big tattoo on my chest. And it's been a long time coming. And there's significance to everything, every piece of ink on my body. Every one of them has a story of how it's changed me, of how I've become this man before you. And I'm just getting started. I can't wait to see who I've become in 5 years. Holy shit, I'm excited. Because I won't stop. I embrace the pain. So there I am, getting this big chest piece. And to give you a little background on that, many of you that have followed the Badass Agents podcast or been within the organization of A's and Associates, my clients would do the work, understand that 2013 was a mess. Carla asked for a divorce. She was tired of me showing up like a boy. My excuse was like my past. There's something that I haven't cleared with my past. That's why I feel this way. That's why I'm depressed. I can't find fulfillment in life. That's the reason why. It was the things that I couldn't process when I was young. That was my excuse. Nothing can be done. I was just immature and I never learned to get past it. So there was this time where I would describe this pain within as a hole in my soul. Walk around with a hole in my soul, aimless. Didn't matter what I did. It didn't matter how healthy and beautiful my family was, how supportive it was. I felt this hole in my soul. It didn't matter how much money I was making. There was this hole in my soul. Didn't matter what I bought, where I moved, what I wore. There was a hole in my soul. And I was describing to you how I feel right now, where I'm lit up, I'm on fire. And I'll tell you, that's not how I felt back then. Because I was a liar. Because I couldn't keep to my word. I was untrustworthy. I was unreliable. My word meant nothing. Just the way it meant nothing when I was lying on the floor, bleeding out to death. A victim of a drive-by shooting at 17 years old. A victim. What a joke. I got exactly what I deserved. I feel no ill will for those that try to inflict pain and death upon me. It was a wake-up call. I was going down the wrong path. I was looking for trouble. But I did something very interesting during that time as I was bleeding out, fighting for my life. I made promises to my Creator, to my God. Hey, this is not about religion. But I made promises that I would later forget. No wonder I was walking around with the hole in my soul, and I said, God, I will speak your word. I will help others. Just allow me to live. Begging, and then talking, and then feeling. My life was spared. The doctor spared my arm, my chest. And I soon recovered, and everything that I promised, I forgot. In fact, I grew unappreciative. I would look at my arm and I would look at it disappointment. It's mangled. Look at the scars. People are staring at it. I was upset. I was angry. I forgot all the appreciation. I forgot all that I promised. No wonder I walked around with a hole in my soul. And things got really bad. Things and decisions that I was making were getting worse because I couldn't be trusted. I put my life on it, and I couldn't be trusted. So, that pain was punishment. But yet I had all the resolutions. I had all the answers, but I refused to look within. I had a stewardship to lead. I had a stewardship to change lives, to speak truths. Instead, I was posturing, working hard to show off, hiding my past, ashamed of it. I found liberation on my rising and just sticking to my word. And I woke up one day. It hit me like a ton of bricks. Oh, damn. What the hell was I thinking? I have not done anything for anyone. It was all selfish. It was all for me. I stopped hiding my arm. For years, people around me didn't even know I had a scar on my arm. They had no idea. Long sleeve shirts. Even in the summertime, I would just roll it up to about right here. The shame as opposed to basking in the glory of facing death at its face and defeating it. Of course I was weak. Of course there was no purpose. I refuse to give the glory to my God. And it resulted to many years of destruction, many years of turmoil, because I couldn't keep my word. I couldn't rise up to the man I was supposed to be. So, over the last 6-7 years, I've become that person, a person that can be trusted, a person that can lead, a person that can change lives, a person that can speak truths, a person in integrity, a person that's preaching something and doing it. And many of you listened. And many of you applied it to your own lives, and your lives are completely different. It was a wake-up call for you. You have a responsibility. You have a stewardship. It is not just meant for me. We're all those pebbles. God's pebbles, right? To do God's work. And slowly but surely, those days of despair, those depressive dates, started slowly disappearing. Where now I have this unique dynamic. I have more good days than bad days. I don't even know how to process that. Because I'm used to feeling bad and hoping that I would have a good day here and there. Now it surprises the heck out of me whenever I have a bad moment. And I call it a moment because it's never a bad day. Never a bad day. It's maybe a hard moment. Because I found appreciation. And I took responsibility. So, my peace and you're able to see it on my Facebook. It's a cross of a sort, and it's in a void. Like there's a hole right inside that cross, and now it's filled. And there's a face of Jesus right on there, right? God's Son, right in there. And that void has been filled. And I understand there is divinity within me now. I don't need anyone's permission. And you don't need anyone's permission to realize you're living the way we all should live, with compassion, with integrity, with purpose, with drive, with intention, knowing you can change lives. There's that divinity within all of us. And that hole has been filled, that void, because I learned to embrace the pains. I've learned to embrace it and not stop. The pains of life, not be victim to it, not be angered by it. But to be appreciative and understand that every person that's been through my life was meant there, was meant to be there. And every experience and every situation was meant for me to grow. So I've taken that. I realized that the pains of life, the lessons of life, me fighting for my life, me popping my tendons. I have so many scars throughout my body. It wasn't meant to hurt me. It was meant for me to embrace it. Because what else can happen? Every experience. Why? Because you become untouchable. You realize that everything, your results will always be on the backside, on the back end of your hard work. All your results. And I've learned to embrace and to be competitive around it. Because when you're competitive, it means you're trying to improve yourself. You're not just letting it slip by. You're not just going through the motions. When you're competitive, that means you have intention. There's a clear focus. And listen, this tattoo that I got on my chest was not pleasant. But I was in the moment. I put it on one of the most painful spots you could put on your body. The sternum. The sternum goes from right below your neck and right above your abs. Okay, that's the sternum bone. It's just real sensitive all down the road. And the most sensitive spots are right near the neck and right by the lower part of your rib cage where it connects. And guess what? That's where the most black ink was going into my body. That's where my tattoo artist, Josh, was digging into that area. The most painful spots is where I got the heaviest and darkest spots. And I went into it embracing the pain because it makes you untouchable. I voluntarily chose this. I wasn't waiting for it to stop. I was going to outlast it. And this is the way we have to approach anything that we're going through. Can you outlast? Can you embrace it? People will try to set you up. There was another artist there, another client. They were like, that's the most painful spot. You're going to want him to stop. Careful now. They don't know what I'm made of. They have no idea what you're made of. They're going at it from their weak minds, where they quit at the moment it gets painful because they want it to stop. I embrace it. I double down. I go hard. So as he starts coming to this point, I start feeling it. 15 needles going in there at one time, just digging. It felt like he was just rubbing sandpaper in there. Rubbing hard. Here in my bone. Not only did I go into it, but I started smiling. Because I was in the moment. And I thought to myself, I've been through worse. This is a walk through the park. I wasn't waiting for it to stop. I wasn't saying, give me a moment. I was saying, bring it on. And I was just going for the short-term wins. I will outlast this. I will outlast the ink in his machine. I will outlast that. I will outlast the tattoo artist. He'll want to break before I do. I will not flinch. I will not wince. I will not cower. Now, it's just a tattoo. No big deal. But imagine approaching life like that in everything you do. The hardships. Having that certainty. Knowing what you've been through, that ain't shit. Whatever you're going through right now is nothing. And I smiled when I thought back when I was that 17-year-old laying on the floor, begging for his life. Nothing. And I was doing this as a reminder that power is accessible to every one of us, and we can never forget that. I stood there, I sat there, I lay there, and we whipped right through it. I was going to outlast the ink. I was going to outlast the tattoo artist. I was going to embrace the pain, because that's what builds character. That's what builds your ability to keep going. So whatever problem comes your way, walk through the park. So start thinking about that. Don't necessarily want the pain to stop. What would happen if you start to embrace it? You start feeling untouchable. You start feeling like you have favor on your back. Everything becomes a great lesson, and you allow the divinity within you to expand exponentially. So let's embrace the pain. And let's build ourselves to where we were meant to be. Leaders. You are a leader. And repeat that to yourself each and every day. Leaders don't complain. Leaders don't submit. I want to thank you for joining me for this episode of Mindset Mastery. I'm going to read a few notes here. And I'm feeling good, and I'll tell you why. Because of the sacrifices, the short-term sacrifices, the pains of hunger, the pains of withdrawal from sugar and bad carbs and products I've been feeding into my body. Of course, it's not going to be easy, but because I chose to lean in, I chose to improve myself, I'm on fire, and I'm reminded, and I'm grateful, and I'm appreciative. We got Jesse, my brother, the hottest name in real estate, is on fire. I appreciate you, man. Jason, wow, this hits me right to the soul. Thanks for bringing the better part of me to the surface from your coaching. You were able to do it because you have been there, done that, and saw the potential in me. When we rise up, we see the potential in others, right? It's not just that, that void of opinions. It's your truth, and people can feel the truth. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone knows what you should be doing, but a lot of it's hot air because they're not doing it. But when you do the work and you speak, it changes lives. It's called integrity. If you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. Absolutely. I'm stuck in a dark place the past few weeks. I've been feeling, Sally, and there's a lot you're leaving on the table. And I know what that feeling means, and it doesn't get any smaller until you start facing those issues that you've been avoiding. And there's a lot. It was the weight of that, right? Of not keeping my word, not doing what I said, not rising up to the level I should be operating at. That's where it comes from. It's nothing outside of you. You're not broken. I'll be the first one to tell you. You're not broken. I wasn't broken. I was just lost. So guys, I want to thank you again for joining me for this episode of Mindset Mastery. You know what to do. You're a leader. I'll talk to you soon. Bye now. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Badass Agents Podcast, brought to you by AZ & Associates and Do the Work Coaching and Consulting. You can watch this and other episodes by subscribing to our channel on YouTube or by visiting us directly at badassagents.com. And of course, you can listen to this episode and many others on your preferred podcast provider.